In the opening weeks of Operation Epic Fury, the United States and Israel systematically dismantled Iran's military infrastructure. Precision decapitation strikes successfully eliminated the highest levels of Iranian leadership, including Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei. Regional airspace was immediately shuttered. Thousands of civilian buildings took damage, and roughly a third of Tehran's missile arsenal was wiped out in a matter of days. But just 25 kilometers off the coast sits a tiny coral outcrop that remains fully functional. This is Kharg Island. It handles 90. The United States military is actively protecting its enemy's most lucrative economic engine. Destroying it is simply too dangerous to risk. If a single American bomb hit Kharg Island's loading infrastructure, 2 million barrels of oil would instantly vanish from a highly volatile global market. This chart of crude oil prices shows the inevitable result. An instantaneous structural supply shock of that scale would send Brent crude prices surging straight to $150, maybe even $200 a barrel. That global spike translates directly to the American gas pump. Prices would jump well past $5 a gallon overnight, triggering a cascade of shipping costs, severe fertilizer shortages, and inflation across the U.S. economy. For an administration already grappling with persistent inflation and a $200 billion war bill, a self-inflicted domestic energy crisis practically guarantees political collapse. Kharg Island acts as a macroeconomic hostage. Iran doesn't have to launch a retaliatory strike to inflict damage, because the economic blast radius of an American bomb falling on this facility would detonate inside the American economy. Right now, 90% of the oil flowing out of Kharg Island is being bought by a single customer, China. To get the oil out of the Persian Gulf, Iran relies on the Dark Fleet. These are heavily sanctioned vessels that disguise their locations and ownership to run the Strait of Hormuz blockade, and Iran is charging a transit fee for these ships to pass safely through the war zone. But they aren't collecting those fees or selling their oil in US dollars. They are forcing buyers to settle transactions in Chinese yuan. While Europe and the United States face crippling supply chain shortages and surging inflation from the conflict, Chinese refiners are quietly stockpiling millions of barrels of heavily discounted Iranian crude. By refusing to strike Kharg Island out of fear of domestic inflation, the U.S. is inadvertently securing China's cheap energy supply and allowing Beijing to directly fund Iran's war effort. While Washington and Beijing maneuver around the blockade, a third power is navigating the chaos: India. New Delhi is securing unique bilateral arrangements to keep its economy afloat, even obtaining a 30-day emergency waiver from the U.S. Treasury to purchase Russian oil cargoes while the rest of the world remains paralyzed. 2,000 Western-aligned cargo ships and oil tankers sit trapped in the Persian Gulf. Meanwhile, Indian vessels continue to move right through the conflict zone. This is the tripolar trap. America is militarily paralyzed, China is financially empowered, and India is successfully leveraging its relationship with both sides to build a new, non-Western order. After 36 days of relentless bombing, depleted interceptor stockpiles, and billions of dollars in munitions burned, the conflict has settled into an exhausting stalemate. And sitting right in the middle of it all is a 25 square kilometer patch of coral, pumping oil at full commercial capacity. The United States possesses the kinetic military power to turn the entire island to ash in a matter of minutes. But that firepower is useless when pulling the trigger guarantees mutually assured economic destruction. It leaves us with a critical question. Is this tiny, unprotected oil terminal Iran's greatest weapon? In the modern era, the true victor of a global conflict is whoever holds the key to the world's irreplaceable economic choke points.